warrior. I've been on the road traveling because whenever there is the need for the warrior, then I go. But I did a lot of thinking while I was on the road. I literally just returned minutes ago, but I wanted to share a few thoughts about O.J. Simpson. Now, I know it seems like he died a long time ago because in our news cycle, our headlines, things come and go very quickly. But I was really thinking about it because back on June 12th, 1994, almost 30 years ago, and I remember it very, very well. At that time, if any of you out there can remember that, it was a different time. The media was different. At least that's the way I perceive it. Also, the kind of attention. We didn't really see this kind of attention given to something like this, the Bronco chase. And I don't have to go through all of what happened. I'm certainly not reminiscing down memory lane. But here's what I want to talk about. A couple of things occurred to me only recently. I started my career in the music business. I now understand that I believe I was very gifted and talented in creation. It was the jingle business, in creating for different brands, creating the actual live musicians, hiring them, writing out the music, working with a company, dealing with advertising agencies to secure that account, submitting demos. I used to cut and splice on the machines, this TAC machine, and put together demo reels and send them out and give them out to people. And it occurred to me, now get ready, I don't share usually a lot of personal things about myself. I really don't. But it occurred to me I couldn't get ahead in that business because simply I was very dedicated. I was very committed. I was very serious at a young age about my work. And I kept getting knocked down. I had some great successes with different campaigns, but I kept getting knocked down over and over again. And now I realize when men used to flirt with me or whatever they were doing, I'll just leave it at that, I didn't reciprocate. I was always about the business. I was a serious person. And for years, I thought that it was me, that I wasn't good enough, competitive enough. And I just realized now it was never me. It was the men in those power positions. I'm sorry that I was very young. Were not giving me any breaks, or were not giving me with the merit. Okay, I'm going to leave that for a minute. So I'm getting back to this June 12th, 1994, O.J. Simpson. Fast forward a decade from that story I just told you about myself. And O.J., remember, he was considered he would be considered an influencer now. He was a celebrity when we had celebrities. And he was all over the place. And you know what? When I looked at the obituary for him, several media outlets barely mentioned Nicole Brown Simpson, barely mentioned that 9 times documented. The police were called. She filed reports of abuse, physical abuse. Certainly to friends, she reported psychological abuse. She even luckily documented, took photos. And at the time, it was brought up once or twice, I remember this, but brushed aside. Because even 30 years ago, we didn't really talk about domestic violence the way we talk about it today in 2024. And I remember thinking, really? These people it appears they have everything. That golden lifestyle in California and all this wealth and celebrity. He's hitting her? And then that kind of all went away. But fast forward, I take great offense to these obituaries where they barely mentioned what happened to Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman. It was horrible. They're murders. They're very blatant murders. But what I want to say, it also occurred to me, just like it occurred to me about my career in the music business starting out, kind of apples and oranges here, warrior, stick with me, that still today, men of influence, men revered, perceived, money, celebrity, get away with everything. So 30 years later from the murders of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman, women are still basically in the same position. If somebody has money and power, they get away with murder. Why wasn't her story? So now we've learned a lot, right, since 1994 about domestic violence. It's more in the news. We're more, acclimated talking about it. There are more resources for it. And still yet, it occurred to me 30 years later, we're still in the same position. It was about O.J. Simpson. It should have been about Nicole Brown Simpson. She should have been mentioned more. Certainly domestic violence. And it was all brushed over pretty much. So I'm here to say, if you know of anybody or yourself, please talk to them about this domestic violence. Please tell them there are resources. We have RAINN, which is the Rape, Abuse, Incest National Network, RAINN.org, RAINN.org. Even if you want to just educate yourself, get a little information, it's free. Look them up, RAINN.org. Also, NNEDV, National Network to End Domestic Violence.org. Both have toll-free numbers. Please, because when I sit here and say, wow, on that long plane ride back I just had, these things, the light bulb went off over my head. Women are still put in the position where there is no justice served when there's a powerful man involved. Think about it. Please subscribe always to the videos. Please always support us, donate, read our information, just share our tweets, Facebook, Instagram, whatever it is. We have to get the information out, but we have to do better. 1994, and I'm seeing no difference in the justice system when it's a powerful or perceived as a powerful, wealthy man against women. And you know I'm right, because I know I'm right, and the facts back it all up. So I'm going to have information in the body of this video and some studies and stats and all that. But think about it. We're not getting any better. And we must, because community creates change. We have our children watching us, our future adults, our future leaders, and we have to do better by them. So join us, lynswarriors.org. And remember, each and every day, be a warrior.